Well, unionized workers in BC are already starting targeted job action, and it's a labor story that got a lot of attention ever since contract negotiations broke down. So with an update on where things are at, we've got BC Nurses Union President Adriane Gear joining us on the line. Hello, how are you?
Hello, good morning.
Great to talk to you and get an update here. So where are things at right now? I mean, I know that a whole weekend has passed. Things can change quite quickly with these sort of situations. So what's the latest in this?
Yes, well, on July 2nd at 12:01 noon, nurses covered under the Nurses Bargaining Association contract, so predominantly BCNU members, but also HSA, some HEU. We did start a province-wide ban on non-nursing duties. The BCNU members did. And so that's been going on. We've also been restricting overtime. And we've also now announced that at the Vancouver General, starting tomorrow at 05:30 in the morning, we are going to initiate a picket line.
Okay, so the Vancouver will see the first picket line.
That's correct.
Okay, yeah, and you mentioned non-nursing duties have been pulled. Could you give me an example of what that means?
Yes, sure. So in this province, at any given time, we have more than about 4,500 permanent nursing vacancies. And so nurses work incredibly short-staffed all the time. And anyone who's experienced healthcare has likely seen that and experienced the impacts of it. And so when we're in a legal strike position, one lawful job action is that we can ban nursing duties or work to roll would be another term for it. And so duties that are important in the delivery of healthcare but do not require a professional nursing designation to complete them are duties that we can then, it's considered struck work, things that we no longer will be doing. And then the intention behind that is to not impact patient care, but it is to apply pressure on employers. And so then the employer is supposed to be picking up those non-nursing duties. What we've been seeing throughout the province, certainly not every nursing manager or excluded sort of, employee of the health authority is doing this. But we have a number of very concerning examples where instead of just buckling up and getting the work done, our members are actually being threatened and intimidated and being told that they're going to be reported to their college, the college that holds our nursing license. And so things are devolving, unfortunately. We know we're having impact, but unfortunately, we've decided in part that's one of the reasons why we need to escalate. The other thing that we're doing is we're restricting overtime. This province runs on overtime, and so far, BCNU has authorized every request for overtime. And what I can tell you is that 9 out of every 10 hours requested is simply to meet baseline staffing. It's not for, increased patient acuity or some type of an emergency situation. It is literally just to meet baseline staffing. And so, again, we are not authorizing it. We are authorizing every request so far. And really what that illustrates to us is the fact that, or now we have the proof, the data that really nurses, again, another way that they're holding the system together by coming in and working excessive amounts of overtime.
So that's the situation right now. That's the labor action we're seeing on the part of BC's nurses. And this happened because, there was a contract that was offered and voted on. So this did get to that stage already, but then that offer was rejected. Is that correct? So tell me why it got rejected. What are you hearing from your members about why it didn't get approved?
Yes, well, certainly just backing that up a little bit further, we did take a strike vote with over 50,000 nurses participating, saying that 98.2% were willing to take some form of job action to secure a collective agreement. That did get us back to the table. It did get us through, certainly some impasses that we are experiencing. But at the end of the day, nurses have rejected the contract by 67%, for various reasons. But what we heard when we were out there, in the ratification town halls talking to nurses, and what we did in the immediate sort of 3 to 4 days after is we surveyed our members, and we had about 25,000 members respond to our survey, just maybe 24,000 within 72 hours. And basically what, the message was, we get it. The bargaining team did the best they could under the current mandate that the employer has set for all public sector bargaining. What it failed to do was to acknowledge, again, the working conditions, the violence, the workload, the inability to provide safe patient care to those that require it in some instances, and that it just, no acknowledgement for what nurses have done in terms of holding the system together through the pandemic, and nurses were like, no, it's not enough.
Is there any sense that bargaining is going to resume anytime?
Well, I can tell you that after speaking to you, I'm going to be heading into talks. We have scheduled after, issuing, initiating our job action. We did get invited back to the table. We were clear we remained available. The bargaining team has been on call, and we're going back to the table today, which, is positive. And at the same time, the health employers have been very clear that they don't have the ability to negotiate anything outside of the mandate that had been determined by government. So, we're willing to go back, and we will, put our best foot forward to try to get an agreement without any movement on government's behalf. I'm not confident that we'll be successful.
We're talking to Adriane Gear, BC Nurses Union President, about the latest in the strike that's underway. Contract negotiations getting back underway today as well. And maybe some picket lines up for the first part in Vancouver tomorrow. Thank you so much for giving us all the updates.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
All right, there you go. That's the situation there with BC's healthcare system. All the latest. We'll get you the CFAX 1070 630 news and all the rest of the top stories of the day next.